There are various types of property investments out there. In this video, let's break down the zakat treatment of all the different types of property investments and understand which ones are zakatable and which ones are not. So let's get the first one out of the way. The simple one, which is your residential property. Although not an investment, but your residential property is not subject to zakat. This falls under your personal assets and your personal needs, and Allah has been merciful upon us by not subjecting our personal assets and personal needs with zakat. The second type of property investment is your buy-to-let, where you're investing in second, third, fourth homes with the intention of rental income. Here, the property itself will not be subject to zakat, rather the rental income which remains with you until your zakat anniversary. And on your zakat anniversary or zakat year end, you've saved that rental income. You just add that to your other cash and pay zakat on that. If you spent your rental income before your zakat year end, then there is no zakat on that cash because you spent it. So buy-to-let properties, the property itself is not zakatable regardless of its property value. Rather, the income and gain is subject to zakat if you still own it on your zakat anniversary. The third type of property investment is where you are flipping properties. In essence, you're buying to sell. So if I'm buying low and selling high, I'm going into the market looking for properties which are below the market value, doing some refurb and then flipping them on with some capital gain. Such properties are subject to zakat because you are trading properties. Here on your zakat anniversary or zakat year end, you look at the current market value of this property and pay 2.5% as zakat. The fourth type of property investment is when it's off plan. A property you've invested in or a construction site or something which needs development. There may be partially something existing or nothing at all whatsoever. Now here it gets a bit tricky where zakat on this depends on what you have and on your intention. If you've invested in off-plan properties with the intention to resell, then whatever has been constructed so far and delivered to you, you'll pay zakat on the market value of that particular construction as of yet. If there's nothing been developed and there's nothing there, then there is no zakat to pay whatsoever. And of course, if you've invested in this or purchased this with the intention to use yourself or to lease it out, there'll be no zakat at all on the property value itself. The next type of property investments are those which are long-term. Perhaps you have a couple of £100,000 or $100,000 lying around and you want to just have a different store of value. You want to park your cash in something other than cash itself or other forms of assets, and you want to buy property instead. Your intention is you don't want to sell this. Maybe in the future one day you'll sell if you have a need to, but for now you're just simply buying another asset as a store of value. In this scenario, because you're not really trading, you've not bought this to sell. It's not a business asset per se. You've just parked your cash and transferred your cash into brick and mortar. In such a scenario, there is no zakat on this property as a long-term store of value. Rather, it'll be deemed as your personal asset as well. Typically, when it comes to investing in properties, the use of leverage and debt is very common. So let's just highlight the rules with regards to debt and how it impacts your investments in properties and your zakat treatment and liability. When it comes to property investments, it's very common for investors to have those acquisitions financed. Now, if you financed your investment in properties via Sharia compliant modes of financing, then you can deduct 1 year's worth of payments. The accurate way of doing this really is you can deduct your rental payments for 1 year, not your future acquisition payments. Those are future payments for acquisition purposes and they're not technically debt as of yet. So you can deduct the rental and lease payments you owe to an Islamic home financing provider, but not the acquisition payments. And you can just work that out on your statements or just contact them to get the accurate figures. If sadly somebody went down the conventional route despite being prohibited, maybe they didn't know, but they took that option, then similarly, because it's a debt with riba, it's prohibited. The first thing they should do is tawbah and try to free themselves from this and move over to a Sharia financing product. If they can't do that and they're stuck in this, when it comes to zakat, they can deduct just the principal amount of 1 year's worth of financing, not the interest element, and they should make tawbah to Allah. So this is the way to deal with zakat on property investments and how you deal with the liability if you financed these particular investments.